Hello, and welcome back to Three Guys Podcast. Thank you all for joining us on our June 2021 episode. Tonight we have a new guest who I'm excited about. She is a friend of mine that I have worked with. She's an English teacher, a English school owner, a polyglot, a art historian, and a lover of travel. So please welcome Terumi Miramide. Hi, Terumi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you tonight?
Good, very good. Thank you. And you?
Good. I'm
Okay,
good. It's nice to
good.
see you again after
Yes.
16 months, actually.
Oh,
Wow, it's over a year. Yes.
Yeah, the last
Can't
time we
believe it.
actually met, I think, was January 2020, right?
it's crazy, right?
Wow.
Isn't it?
Okay. That's quite a
Yeah,
while ago. Well, time flies,
it
really.
it
Yes.
does. Well, it's been a strange year and a half. So,
Strange years and a half. Yes.
right. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Simon, who you just
Mhm.
met, and I'm going to let him ask you some questions since I know more about you than he does. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So,
I'm,
first off, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much for
Thank
taking
you.
your time to be with us. But like I said, Tom, I've only just met you just now. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I'm Terumi. I live in Osaka, Japan. I have lived in Osaka since I was born. And when I was younger, I traveled around and I studied in Canada. And I came back and I went to England to study again. And I've owned my English school for over 23 years. Mm, and uh, yes, that's about it, really. Yes.
Well, so why did you decide to go to Canada in the first place? Why did you decide just to leave everything and leave your homeland to go to a new country?
Okay. Well, when I was a high school student, and I wasn't quite sure because everyone thought that I would go to university in Japan, but at that time, Japan was a bit different from today. Like, okay, you're a girl. Okay, so when you graduate, you work a bit for two years, and then you find someone and you get married
Yeah,
and
yeah,
go to college. But okay, so mainly people just didn't study, and then I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to follow this system, and then it just wasn't logic to me. So and then I was to go to college. Then I changed my mind, and that time I was doing some dance, like a classical ballet and a jazz dance, and my teachers were all from overseas, like some teachers from New York and Toronto, and I had a chance to go to Canada, so I just decided to go. So everyone's like families and friends and teachers, they were all surprised because all of a sudden I
yeah.
changed my directions. And then that was like 30 years ago, and it's like, what, where are you going? That's kind of reaction.
actually, actually, I didn't know that you were a dancer.
I studied a lot of different kinds of dance, like Ryukyu, Okinawa dance, when I
Uh-huh.
was much younger, and then I studied classical ballet, and then all sorts of things. Yes,
Hmm. Oh.
So, what was it about?
but it was. Mhm.
Sorry, I was going to ask them. As you living in Japan, I kind of know that a lot of my Japanese friends follow what their parents want them to do, and they
Yes.
follow their friends as well. What made you? I know you said you met some people as well, but what was in you that made you wanted to travel and get out of the country?
Well, I just wanted to escape, I think. I just,
Escape from what?
I just
Well,
tried to get out of the country, and I just tried to find out and what way was the best. And at that time, yes, I think I was quite stubborn, and because I just didn't want to follow if I don't get it. And then I just made my family sometime hard. I gave them hard time, etc. Yes, it's this kind of like hardcore, but it was really hard because okay, I just wanted to do dance, and then I went to Canada. of course, it was so difficult to leave, because at that time I wasn't able to speak English very well, but I just jumped in, and then just so it was quite hard.
Yeah, I can
And I
imagine.
was young.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just
Did
like
you feel any culture shock moving to Canada for the first time? Was anything that was really kind of
um,
strange for you?
it's actually, I didn't get much culture shock when I was in Canada. It's actually the second time when I went to England,
Oh.
I had a culture shock.
About
What
what?
was yeah.
I think, well, the first time I went to Toronto, Toronto was like 30 years ago, very diverse
Mm.
and very, like, I would say, like melting pot
Mm.
Mhm.
of people from different places, and they're kind of mixed, and I didn't feel like that I was like a foreigner or I was from like different places. Just
Yeah.
people, accepted me, and I just really liked the feeling, and also the size of the city at Toronto 30 years ago. Very cool, a lot of underground, like a very fashionable,
Hmm.
and I really enjoyed. Yes.
So
Mm.
how was England different to Canada? What was the biggest difference between both places?
Mm, um, um, I think it was cold.
Canada is pretty cold. Yes, that is true.
And though I really like the atmosphere in England, the first time I visited there was 1991. At that time,
Mm.
England was a kind of economically wasn't so good. It was
Yeah.
really, really dark, and that was kind of tough. But I really like the feeling of it, and I think people are more preserved and different in a way, and in a way that it was easy to understand, because in a way that quite similar to Japan.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
again, that was the first time I started to live in England was 1993. Situation was different from today in England, Britain.
Mm.
Mm.
Which part of the UK did you go to?
I lived in Surrey, Sutton, near Wimbledon.
Where is that? Oh, well, I know Wimbledon. I know, but Surrey? I never heard of
Surrey,
it.
like Sutton, about 30 minutes from London.
Oh, okay.
It's quite a nice. It's quite
South,
an
South
upmarket
London.
kind of place.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
yeah, it's quite a
Wimbledon, I
rich
know.
rich
The
neighborhood. Yeah.
Wimbledon,
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
but
Tennis.
bit farther south,
Hmm.
yes.
Oh, okay,
Mm,
okay.
mm.
So
Do you? Did you?
oh, sorry,
Sorry,
Tom.
go ahead.
No,
I was
after you.
just gonna add. I was just curious. Tsurumi's husband is British, is English. Did you meet
Oh,
him in England, or did you guys meet in Japan?
I met him through my friend. It was really funny. 1989, I was in England.
Hmm.
I met two English guys
Hmm.
when I was in Japan. Can you
Hmm.
hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
yes.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, and then so we became good friends, and then with family, and we used to eat together and all that. And then one of the guy who actually we still kept in touch. And then I decided to go to England to study. So he offered to me, oh, I've got like a spare room, and maybe
Hmm.
I can ask, my landlord. That was Matthew, my husband now.
Funny. Okay. I just like I've known you for a long time, and I never asked you that story, so it's kind of
Yeah,
funny.
so
Yeah.
first, Matthew and I were just friends,
Hmm.
and he let me stay for a couple of days when I went there for the interviews. And by the time I got there again, then my original friend, was already out of his house.
Hmm.
Then I only knew Matthew. and just slowly, just friends, and then
Sure.
he taught me like how to write English essays and stuff like that, and
Right, right, right.
we became
Huh.
sort of like, yeah.
That's
Mm,
cool. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, Simon, her husband is the typical, very sardonic English guy. He's pretty funny. He's a funny dude.
So
So,
when you eventually moved back to Japan, how was it making that transition from living abroad to coming back to Japan? I know when I went back to UK for the first time after living in Japan, it was kind of
Yes.
strange going back to the UK again. It took me a while to get used to it. Was it the same for you?
uh I was really strange, but wasn't strange as when I came back from Canada in the beginning. I really like it was. I feel really uncomfortable just coming back, and also I was young, and then I was really Canadianized everything. Like Canada was good and things like that. But by the time when I got back from England, I was a bit older,
Mm.
and then I knew what I should do. So it was but really difficult when I came back 1995. Actually, 3 days before I came back Japan first. Then 3 days before the Hanshin earthquake, Matthew came and
Oh
oh
hit
wow!
no!
Hanshin earthquake.
So that was his first introduction to Japan.
Exactly. Yes. And then the reason I came back to Japan, because my mother was sick. Yes. And then so I needed to come back. And also living in England and just keep studying because I really wanted to take master degrees while I was in England. But it was quite expensive, all the tuitions and then that. And the biggest reason was my mother's sickness. So I came back, and Matthew decided to come to live in
That's
Japan.
cool.
Yes,
No,
then
I never heard that story. That's funny. So,
okay.
that's a
Well,
good story. That's a really good story. So,
yeah,
oh,
he was
so
very
sorry.
yes, he was
No, go
very
ahead.
horrified to experience the Hanshin earthquake. That
Yeah.
was really hard.
I can
Your
imagine,
first
yeah,
earthquake in Japan is always fun, right, Simon?
yeah. Do you live near the Hanshin area, or are you in Osaka?
It's actually pretty near because like one cross the bridge, Amagasaki,
Wow.
Hyogo Prefecture, and Toyonaka, and where we live, it wasn't as big as like Kobe area,
Yeah.
but it's actually quite bad because all the shelves and cupboards just came down, and then yes,
Mm,
it was quite big hit.
yeah.
I never really experienced a big earthquake. I mean, I woke up a couple of times in my bed and the light was moving like this. And then, of course, the big kind of the earthquake in Fukushima, I felt like the aftershocks for that. But I was really lucky
Yeah.
while I was there to never really experience anything
Oh.
so
Yeah,
huge or dramatic.
the biggest one I felt was the one 3 years ago, 2018. I think it was
Yeah.
June. Do you remember that one, Terumi?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Oh, my friends
Yeah,
talked
like
about that. Yeah.
not many people died, but like it was pretty intense when it happened.
Yes.
It shook the whole building I was in, like a big concrete block building.
Yes.
But
You
yeah,
feel
Yeah,
safe in Japan with earthquakes, though, I think. I remember when I was trying to rent an apartment, and the Fudosan, the estate agent, was asking us different things. I said, "Do I need fire insurance and theft insurance?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Do you need earthquake insurance?" And he laughed.
yeah.
I said, "No." I said, "Well, why don't you need earthquake insurance?" Because it's kind of a common thing, right? And he's like,
right.
"No,
It's
you don't need that."
Yeah.
yes. Mm.
Well, Terumi, just to change subjects real quick, I wanted to ask you. You were telling me last time we met, you had been working on your art history degree, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Right. That was a master's, right?
Well, I wanted to take master degrees. Yeah.
Right.
But
How's that going? Did you finish it, or are you still working on it, or?
it's actually now I well since 4 2 years. Is
Uh-huh.
it for 2 years? Like now I'm also a college student and I'm studying now.
Right. So you're still taking classes.
Oh yes, I do. Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And also, I have well since last year, I had a chance that I was able to teach, like, not art history, but history
Mm-hmm.
in English, in Japanese.
In your English school or like in a university setting?
No, it's just actually culture center, like
Oh,
Asahi
that's
Culture
cool.
Center. Yes,
Yeah.
and then like last year, one
Uh-huh.
of the professor, the previous professor, he got old and he wanted to stop. And
Mm-hmm.
then like one of the staff members asked me if I was interested in teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And then well, that subject like Renaissance to Barocco, and then
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't quite sure if I could do, and I didn't have much confidence, but I decided to take this opportunity. And
That's pretty cool. How did it go?
good, and
Yeah.
I finished that one, and then since April this year, I've been doing like history.
Mm-hmm.
H.G. Wells.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
wrote like outline of history, world history, and
Really?
then
I didn't know that.
yeah, this is like everyone's saying. Well, I only knew that he
Right, it's
just wrote
fiction.
quite a lot
Right.
of science fiction. In
Yeah. Yeah. I only
fact,
know it's fiction. So.
yeah, he wrote quite prolific writer, and then he wrote quite a lot of histories.
Oh,
And
hello.
then so I'm kind of reading and then explain the thing into Japanese, but many Japanese people are not good at world history,
Right.
especially like
I thought that was just Americans. I thought Americans were just bad at
Us
world
too.
history.
Yeah.
So just like just like start from like Homo sapiens, and then a settler, we're doing like Egyptians and things.
Mm-hmm.
It's really still kind of hard because it's not familiar subject,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm enjoying it. Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
When do you think you will finish with the degree?
I think it would take quite a long time. So
Mm-hmm.
I need to do what I'm going to move. Just go ahead, because most of the students, they're quite old. You see.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
was teaching that class a lot different than teaching English, for example, or?
Very different in a
Uh-huh.
way, because students are more interested in like history, and then like a not the language itself, like a culture. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
history,
Hmm.
and yes. So, and also just reading H.G. Wells. His English is quite old, 100 years ago.
Right. 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 Right.
So, sometimes Matthew helped me.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah,
Was it
yeah.
H.G. Wells was American or he was British? I forget.
British.
He was
Yeah,
British.
he's not
Okay.
British
Right. Right.
yet.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
What
So.
made you want to continue studying though? What made you want to go back to do the masters?
It's actually art history. That's my thing. But I don't have much chance to actually where I go to. They don't have art history. So I'm taking philosophy at this moment, philosophy and kind of like religious studies. And so I have to find out myself what subject, I'm really want to major. Yes. But yeah, just I'm still thinking, yeah, what I should. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So do you want
But
to
it
do more
really
teaching? Sorry?
not teaching. I think, well, because now it's come to my age. I think, I just, well, I can't, I think, well, I can't make money out of this.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm thinking what I
Mm-hmm.
can do. But it
Mm-hmm.
really helps me with teaching as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like recently I have taught high school students, and their levels are quite good. And then not only English language, but
Mm-hmm.
history and cultural background.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Excellent. Great. Well, let's move on. And of course, your English is fantastic, but maybe you could tell us a little bit more about your experiences learning English, or well, also you speak French and you are learning Spanish as well from
Wow, so many.
we had Dario on last month, and Dario is her Spanish teacher.
Yes,
Oh, I
that's right.
see.
Yeah. So,
I'm a bad student.
so
I'm a lazy student.
but yeah, I mean, so when exactly did you really get committed to learning English, and how, like, what was that process like?
Okay, I was always interested in other countries since I
Mm-hmm.
was little. I guess because my cousin was married to French,
Mm-hmm.
and then so that was the first influence. And then so I did dance, and my teachers were Americans, Canadian, and I had a chance to communicate,
Sure.
though at that time I didn't speak
Mm-hmm.
much English.
Mm. So was it only when you went to Toronto that your English really, really improved, or
No, actually, after I came back, because dance you really didn't need, because Toronto, where I studied, most of
Mhm.
the teachers are from Quebec,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
then
they're all French.
they spoke French. You see.
Oh.
Mm. So did you learn English and French at the same time, or was one
I
first?
I studied French when I got back from Canada. So serious, I really like the sounds, and I don't know, I like the language. So I
Mm.
studied when I came back from Canada. Mm.
Mhm. Mm.
Yes, but I really started to study English. Well, I think I don't know. Yes, maybe just after I came back from England more, because
Mhm.
English was so natural to me. Because
Mhm.
before I studied grammars and sort of things, I needed to study. Like I needed to read a lot of books and so that. Yeah. So when I decided to own the language school, okay,
Mhm.
so really I needed
Time.
to study grammar. Mm,
Mhm.
the structure of English.
Mm, 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 mm.
Yes.
Mm. Simon, any questions?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what was for you? We asked this to all our guests as well. What was easy and what was difficult for you learning, English and French? What did you find easy and difficult?
Um. Um.
Mhm.
For example, English was rather easier for me because since I was little, I used the language,
Yeah.
though grammatically, because not like more communication level. I knew how to respond, how to talk, how to communicate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
A really real hit when I started to study French. That was really difficult because I
Mm.
didn't get the concept at all. Though they're very similar, about 40-50% of vocabulary English French shared, especially British English. It's actually a
Sure.
lot of words came from French, but the concept I just didn't get the sense. Why do I use this? For example, tense, all
Mhm.
that. A little bit difficult. I think French was more logical, more logic in a
Mhm.
way. Yes.
French was more logical.
Yeah, more logical. Yeah. So that
Okay.
that that was quite difficult.
Right, right.
Mm.
Huh.
Which language do you prefer, English or French?
I like the both.
Depends on the day, right?
Yeah.
But w- um, it's actually English. Talking about English, that's really difficult because
Mm.
many people speak English. Not English, not only for like native English speakers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you go to China, you go to Korea, and I think English can transform very easily
Yeah.
to the language. So like Japanese people, there are a lot of Japanese people speak English, but sometimes the concept really based on Japanese kind of background.
Mm,
And
mm, mm.
so in a way, English is really like it has like a variety of essence, I think.
Many forms.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, totally. Good.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. I agree. And even like where I'm in Dubai, it's of course it's in the Middle East where Arabic is the biggest language. But to be honest, I think if you go anywhere in Dubai or the UAE, everyone speaks English, no matter where you go. All the government offices use English. It's interesting, even though it's not connected to any kind of English country. It's still the language of communication because it's a lingua franca
Exactly.
for everyone to communicate. You know, so it's
Right.
interesting that it's so. It's interesting to go to different parts of the world and to be able to use English.
Exactly.
It's
Yes.
I
easy for
remember
us, of course.
reading a fact about how like every airport in the world, everyone has to use English. So
Oh, really?
even if a German pilot is landing in a German airport, they're speaking English to each other when they're landing.
Oh, that's weird.
It's pretty weird, right? But
Yeah.
interesting when you think about it, you know.
Well, it's the same for
So
research. I do when I'm writing research papers. I mean, you got people from researchers from all over the world writing in English because they're going to get it
sure.
published. They're going to get more eyes on the papers. So if you're a researcher from any country, you have to speak English. It's kind of unfair, I suppose, but it's good in a way that there's one unifying language for us all to kind of
something.
move around and communicate.
Yeah.
Sure.
So can I ask
we
some?
always sorry, go
Sorry,
ahead,
Tom.
Simon.
I was going to ask some questions. I would like to know more about your school and how you started your school, if that's okay,
Okay.
and why you
Really,
decided to get started in the first place.
because I thought I had a place because at that my mother used to have a coffee shop where I'm sitting here, okay,
Oh,
and she had run the business for a long time, but when she got sick, okay, she had to quit. And then okay, I just came back, and what do I do? I really wanted to go back to college to keep studying, but once I started to work, it's really hard. So I just got an idea, and my mom just like said, well, okay, why don't you do English, like a teach kids or something,
huh.
and then you can study. And I said, okay, yeah, that's an idea. So how I started, and that time I just as a part time. Okay, I teach, English to kids, like 3 or 4 days a week. Then I'll do my study, but this business has become my profession. So I've been doing this, for over 23 years now. Yes.
Well, actually, Tom, how long have you been teaching now?
Japan and Mongolia, almost 20 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, not far behind actually. Yeah, so
Yes.
I forget about that sometimes, but good. Well, just to finish up, something that we ask all of our guests is so as a English learner and as an English teacher,
Yeah.
what is your advice that you would want to give other people that are learning English to become fluent?
Um.
What worked for you? What really worked
Okay.
for
I think there are two things
you?
really.
Hmm.
Okay, learn the cultures.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because many Japanese people, even school, there are myths that okay, so if you want to speak English fluently, just speak up, and then you'll be fine. But without your background knowledge, or you don't know the culture, I think that's quite difficult, because still many students or many learners, English study learners, try to learn English in a way that Japanese.
I
Sure.
see.
Yeah. That makes total sense. I
Yeah,
agree
that's a
with
good
that.
point, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't really try to learn the essence like a Japan English format. Just like, how do I say this in English? And this is the Japanese. And then it's just so funny. First, like object and no subject verb. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting because I look at it from the opposite perspective of learning Japanese, and it's the same for me. Like until you have a certain understanding of Japanese culture,
Yeah.
Learning Japanese language is very difficult.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And
what was the second thing?
yeah, the second thing, well, it's actually now I'm kind of saying that like a cultural thing, and also as the language, you really need to learn the basic kobun, like a formation, like a structure of English. I think because also, and then like a try to speak logically. It's just so interesting when I ask the students, okay, so what do you think? I think this is good. And how good is it? I don't know
Right.
because it's
Yeah.
good. So
It's good. It's nice. Yep.
yeah, they don't try to express themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So in that way, I always recommend students to read more books and try to expound, the words that you can, they can just show their feeling or like describe things. Yes.
So try and expand on your vocabulary and not
Yeah.
have a limited
Yes.
one. Okay. Good. Well, Simon, any final questions for Terumi before we wrap things up?
I think the final question would just be, would you recommend your students to go travel overseas, and what advice would you give them when they go and learn overseas?
Okay, make local friends.
Yeah, important. Yeah.
Like make locals, and then like just try to accept the things. Yes.
It's important to have lots of interaction with different people, I think, and to get
Yeah,
out
I
of your
think,
comfort zone, isn't it?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is very important.
Well, Terumi, thank you very much for joining us
Very
today.
much. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So thank you everyone for watching this evening. This has been Three Guys English minus John tonight. He's being lazy. But we tried to make it work with just two guys. But yeah, if you are a language learner, probably Japanese, in Kansai, we'll have the information down below to Terumi's school. Yes. And Terumi, you mentioned you might be having some events once Corona wraps up. What kind of events were you talking about?
Well, what like you used to do, like a beer events, like a beer, wine.
Drinking in English, basically.
Drinking in English, exactly.
Right, well, just for the audience to be clear, yes.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Another fine technique for speaking better English is loosen up with a few drinks.
Yes, I think the drinking helps. Yeah,
it
people
does.
just get relaxed and then.
It does. So I'm looking forward to when we can have a drink again. So
yes, definitely.
Yeah. So, hey guys, thanks again for joining us for another Three Guys podcast, and thank you Terumi for joining us as well. It was great to see you again. Guys, if you're interested in Terumi's school and you are in the Osaka area, we'll have the link down below to her school, so feel free to check that out. Also, we'll have another guest next month from the Middle East, so be sure to check that out as well at the end of the month. So, as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that like button, and we'll be back to you with another video. All right, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.